Hello, greetings and welcome. Welcome back to the Sacred Surf Shack. Looking forward to sharing this one with you. Um, so it all kind of unfolded with my wife. We were chatting, we're actually in a bit of a heated argument, and I realized something within relationships. And it's not just from within relationships, but I discovered this partly in prison as well. So obviously I went to prison, and then when I was in prison, I was like, holy shit, I've manifested my internal, how I felt inside, which also felt like I was in prison, and all of a sudden I'm in prison. Um, and then how that unfolded was I actually became, I felt more free and more, yeah, more, had more freedom than I did before, which is just wild. It doesn't make sense. You're in prison, right? It shouldn't be happening. However, with my wife, we were having a bit of a heated argument, and then afterwards, in reflection, I started to think about, how in relationships, and not even just in relationships, it can be a substance, it can be an object, it could be a workplace, whatever it is, whatever you're in relationship to. It these things, and I'm going to use a relationship with a person. We can hold someone, or someone can hold us in a prison, or a light prison, and they're holding it in there with their unconscious magic, if you want to put it like that way. Like they're unconsciously holding you in a certain place with labels, beliefs, assumptions, experience, data, with a narrative, and they're holding you there because it's usually from a past experience. So our parents do this. Our parents will hold us, you know, as younger than what we are maybe, or not as mature as what we are, or it could potentially just be like they're still my boy, and you're like 30 years old, they're still treating you like you're 12. Put your hand up if that's you. No. Then that's happened to me. I had to put a big boundary in place. So, and then vice versa. You could be holding someone in the same way in a prison. I realized this with my child, and I guess you could look at it as a bit of a light prison. I don't like the word prison's pretty charged, but I realized with my child, we're at the park, and then this was ages ago, it was like 2 years ago, and my daughter was 3, and my youngest daughter was 1 and a bit, and no, 4 and 2, that's right. And the 2-year-old, I'd been holding back in like as if she was still 1. And she climbed this monumental sort of thing at the park for a 2-year-old. I was like, holy shit. And then I realized I'd been like holding her in a different light. I'd been looking at her as if she was 1, with these beliefs, assumptions, and narrative of this is what she can do. And then she surprised me with what she did, and it completely broke that. And I was like, whoa. And that became a bit of a realization that we can hold people in prisons or prisms that within that have beliefs, assumptions, narratives, ideas, images, visions about this person perceived from a past data, rather than looking at them freshly in the moment without all of that, and giving that person the benefit of the doubt, or giving that child the benefit of the doubt. We put this over our perception, and then it actually clouds our clarity. We don't see the situation clearly. Maybe this person, and I'll use my relationship, you don't see the change that the person is undergoing because you're still focused or waiting for them to behave in a certain way. And I think this can be really destabilizing for relationships that are trying to heal and grow, is really being mindful of, are you keeping your partner in a prison? Are they keeping you in a prison? Are you keeping yourself in a prison as well? Like, are you keeping yourself in an old prison based out of these old beliefs, old patterns, and then you're trying to break through and you're doing all the things, but the psychological aspect hasn't been broken down yet. So you're doing all the different things, but you might relapse and fall back into the old pattern and be like, why the fuck am I keep doing this? And that's bringing awareness to what kind of prison you're keeping yourself in. And then we could look at as well like substances, which is a bit of a given. Like if we look at drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, food, all of those things, it's pretty obvious the kind of prison they keep you in because there's pleasure. is a pleasure prison. So we just got to forego pleasure, right? And look at work as pleasure. Look at your service work as pleasurable, even though it's not activating the same centers as these pleasuring, self-gratifying, intense experiences like drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, food, intense activities and whatnot. And we want to shift that and go, oh, let's focus upon service, because we're going to have a lot more lasting happiness if we go towards that direction. Anyway, I'm digressing now, but I'm just going to go through this tangent. So then we'll have a lasting happiness if we look at everything as service, as work, and that we find delight and happiness and lasting peace in doing that, rather than going down the pleasure road where ultimately, if you took all those things away from you, you're never happy. You're happy in the moment, and then you take it away, and then you're unhappy. So it's obviously not making you happy, is it? It's not at all. It's giving you false happiness, not lasting happiness, not contentment or true happiness is what I like to call it. And so all these things, this pleasure prison is keeping you in a prison. So how do you free yourself from that? Is you stop doing it and you focus upon being there for others, being there for yourself, in a way in which isn't activating these centers in these really highly charged ways. Not to say you don't go there. Of course you can go there. Life would be boring if we didn't go there. However, we want to be mindful that you continue to go there, you're going to continue feeding the prison, feeding the pleasure prison. So that's another kind of prison that I've realized and discovered within myself. And managed to break free from for the most part. So yeah, I guess the question is, who are you keeping in a prison? How are you keeping there? And what kind of ways in which you can move out of that or dissolve it? And then another question would be like, what's keeping you in a prison? What or who is keeping you in a prison? In a light prison. So I'm going to put that towards you guys, and I hope this video helps and supports you. Please like, subscribe, chuck any comments or questions in the bottom, and I'll get to them. Thank you again. Look forward to sharing the next video.